What's going on? All thanks for tuning in once again. Let's recap the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship of the world. Usyk versus Fury, was definitely a fight of who wanted it more. Both guys, had control at some point in the fight. I thought that Usyk had control in the first two rounds, and Fury comes back, and it seems like he has the control. He finds his rhythm, he finds his target with those uppercuts. And then the fight changes, and then we see that devastating round 9, that round 9 that people question, should the fight have been stopped? That's the number one question. And I'm glad that it wasn't stopped, because, a lot of people would have said, hey, that was a bad stoppage, Fury was on his feet, Fury was still, defensive in a sense, he was moving, trying to avoid shots, he still had his hand up. Excuse me. So, I'm happy that it wasn't stopped and that it did go to the full 12. I think the right man won. And like I mentioned in the breakdown, it's going to come down to who gets knocked down. I mentioned that both guys can get dropped. We've seen both guys get dropped, and what I wasn't expecting from this fight was Fury not to come forward at all, because, I'm sure that Fury would have been watching some of Usyk's fights, and we always see Usyk coming back strong in those round 9, round 10, round 11, round 12, the championship rounds. He always tends to come out fresher than most guys, So, I don't know why Fury didn't use his size, simply just to regather himself, simply just to hold on, try to regroup, try to pace himself a bit more, understand if Fury's holding you, he can, relax a bit, use his size, use his weight on the opponent, just relax, try to gather himself a bit more, as well as wear the opponent down, and I never saw that from Fury. I was very shocked at that, that he didn't use that tactic, because he is good at that, he is good at fighting on the inside, he is good at using his weight, and he didn't use it in this fight. So, Usyk, was definitely the aggressor in this fight. He found that left hand straight away, first round, second round. Caught Fury a couple of times, always had Fury backing up in the corner. Always had Fury in trouble in terms of, landing that shot. Fury couldn't avoid it. And it was basically Usyk throwing a right hook followed from a left hook. He was throwing around Fury's long arms. And I think Fury should have used more hooks in this fight. I really do. I think that he should have used more lead hooks to get Usyk away from that. From that right side. So Fury could actually see that punch coming. He could actually move away from it. Because he was throwing straights, Usyk's able to throw around his punches at close range. But we saw that Fury was very invested in the uppercuts, and I think he was a bit too invested in landing big body shots than actually trying to keep Usyk away. You see him in round 6 hurting Usyk badly, with a headshot. Then you see him going to the body, and he should have just thrown the jab, thrown the lead hook, because at that stage of the fight he was winning. He didn't really need to commit too much to big power shots, to the body. Fury's good enough at jabbing, moving, then holding. We've seen that with Klitschko, where he's able to throw and then hold, and get away from an exchange happening on the inside. And Usyk just took advantage of that, because Fury's dropping both guards down. His defense, he's not really holding his hands up. He's using his height. Usyk's throwing around Fury's punches because he's close enough, because Fury's coming into uppercuts, the hand speeds and Usyk's advantage. And because he found that target early, it wasn't a problem for him to find his range, especially when he countered Fury. He started initiating attack, then he started countering him and really making him pay. Now the round 9, that was a big game changer in the fight. Again, I question if Fury was coming forward, maybe he would have held on to Usyk. But because he was so used to going backwards, the timing of Usyk's punches, Usyk isn't a guy that's just looking for one punch. He's hurting you with both hands. He's landing, very accurate. This isn't a Deontay Wilder trying to wind up in one punch. This is a guy that knows his punch selection. He knows what to throw when the other guy's hurt. And he's able to capitalize. When Fury's backing up, staggered on his legs. Usyk's landing clean shots. Punch after punch. Now the referee does step in, and at that stage I thought it was over. But he starts counting. Fury is clearly knocked out, in terms of he doesn't really know where he is. Because he has that heart, that fast recovery time, he beats the count. But had the referee not stepped in, who knows if Usyk would have landed something big again. Like I said, Fury trying to avoid him going backwards. Usyk was landing every time, and I think that if the referee never stepped in, he would have landed something big, possibly ended the fight. Who knows though, when we do know that Fury does have that incredible heart, to get up from huge punches. Ask Deontay Wilder, he knows all about it. But I'm glad it wasn't stopped, because, I think a lot of people would have said, hey, Fury was on his feet, it was a bad stoppage. So I think the ref made the right call, but if he had stopped it, I wouldn't have been upset at all as well, because let's face it, Usyk was landing a lot. So I mean, overall, I thought it was anyone's fight. I thought that Fury had the wrong game plan to end with. I thought the start of the fight, Fury, was finding his rhythm, but the ending, getting past those last rounds where Usyk's at his best, not really hurting him enough to understand that he's in trouble. If Fury was to end the fight, it probably would have been round 7. I think he hurt him the most in round 6. So Usyk managed to, regather himself, land some big punches. Round 8, then round 9 comes with the knockdown. Well-deserving win from Usyk. Well-deserving. And I mean, I was disappointed at the response from Fury. I thought that Fury should have, shook his hand and said, hey, the better man won. But instead he's saying it's because of the war. I thought I was robbed. This is the first time Fury's lost as well, so keep that in mind. But I mean, Fury deserves full credit. Usyk deserves full credit. Start of the fight face-off, Fury's not even looking at him. Delayed the fight twice, just no respect for Usyk. And I think that, Joshua and Fury both should say, hey, Usyk's the better guy. Usyk's the better boxer. Usyk's the better fighter. And Usyk is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. One face, one champion, one name. He goes by the name of Oleksandr Usyk. He's got nothing to prove. His belt will be stripped, the IBF. So, I mean, he is the undisputed champ, from the last 24, 25 years. The number 1 heavyweight, Oleksandr Usyk, Can Fury beat him in the rematch? Of course he can. You know, like I said, it was anyone's fight. But obviously Usyk, you know, he came with the right game plan and he capitalized. You know, he landed those shots. He hurt him. He knocked down the number one at the time. And now Usyk is definitely, you know, signed, sealed, delivered. Number one heavyweight of the world. The undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. You know, hats off to Usyk, well deserved. And leave your take on it. You know, look forward to the comments. And I'll catch you next time. Have a great day. Peace.